earlier in the match, and a release of the ball so sharp, so clean.
Here we go. Australia in possession for the start of the second test. It's Richardson straight to McMahon. Just watch the defensive pressure from the Silver Ferns. Can they make this a different outcome?
Well, immediately some shouldering between Temapara George and Peter Squire. It will be just as physical, this one.
And our umpires once again, one from each country. It's working well. Sharon Kelly from Australia and Joan Hodgson for New Zealand. There's barely been a syllable of criticism against the two after the first test.
Well, immediately New Zealand have done some work in sewing up the baseline. They catch Sherelle McMahon, who got caught for pushing away through. The penalty goes to New Zealand. It's turned over again, but a different start from the Silver Ferns.
And over the top to Richardson and on to McMahon. Gets shot, set for the first shot and makes it count. And McMahon, who shot 73% in Wellington, 22 from 30. Take the direct route to Irene Van Dijk, who shot 89% in the first test.
That was the outstanding difference between the two teams. Australia with the shared responsibility in goals, but Van Dijk had full responsibility for the Silver Ferns.
Smart feed from Richardson. Edward had no chance with that bounce pass in. And I wonder what the thinking is for McIntosh with the centre position. Well, there'll be fresh legs in the second half.
I think that might have always been in Jill's mind, to keep the legs fresh throughout a match of this pace. But I think Richardson is tough and direct, and we talked about what she contributes to the defensive component of the Australian team.
Oh, again it goes through for McMahon, who is 3 from 3. Good start, and they've got the break early. Just watch these 3-second counts in this second test. We thought there were a couple of skinny ones in the first.
Very quickly, Steve, you can see that there is no easy route for the Australians to the circle. They found it fairly comfortable going. New Zealand on the back foot was much slower.
And a penalty against Seymour and then one against Banganar allows McMahon to take up this position to shoot.
Slapping on the ball from Bernice Meni, mind you, again very close to the 3-second call as Australia experiment with how long the 3 seconds will be and what they can draw from the defender within that time.
4-1 start for the Aussies. George, Lochhagen, and well, Squire says, I'll have that, straight at her, and they don't look settled at all, the Silver Ferns, yet. 1 goal only to Irene Van Dijk.
Good ball from Peter Squire, clears the congestion in the mid-court from New Zealand.
Sanders puts the foot to the floor. Southby available, a long way from goal. This is a first shot. And possession to New Zealand.
Well, McMahon had it, but went out of court on the take, so it would have been an offensive rebound had she been able to hold a footing. But a lot more intensity in this New Zealand side at the start. As Ellis comes out beautifully, it was a touch late.
And Lochhagen just checking to see head is still on the shoulders. Sherelle McMahon in that first test and took 4 offensive rebounds, and that was an outstanding stat.
The Australian shooters were brilliant in that match. Their workload was incredible. They obviously had been told to put the movement out strong and hard, split the New Zealand defence, really drive through them and into the spaces, and they did that. And every time they put that workload, they were expected to shoot at the end of it. They did that well.
Lochhagen's okay. Jill McIntosh had a quick word to Eloise Southby in that injury break. Away we go. It's New Zealand trailing.
Well, the screen was being offered by Lochhagen for Van Dijk, but she came off it early, which allowed Australia the contest.
Van Dijk could only get a hand to the ball out of play. Oh, gee, that was absolutely open.
Yeah, just off screen, though, Rebecca Sanders was holding Edward, and that caused the contact. She'd set up behind her, so there was space for the ball to be passed. Too much on it.
Well, fingertips only from McMahon on that pass from Richardson. That was a risky one, and the risk did not pay off. Cross court they go from Seymour to Lochhagen. Now George pushes it back to the dual international. And they're holding up well in the circle, the Australian defenders. Van Dijk's getting nothing.
Beautiful work from Liz Ellis. Had lovely, clean inside position.
And it was Joan Hodgson making that call. Lochhagen wanted to query it, but on they go. The Australians looking for a 5-1 lead if they can convert here. Scoring is just stalled for the moment.
Eloise Southby, a little more circle-bound than we found her in the first test, is trying to look for the screen, but just can't split the New Zealand defenders.
Oh, many a big shove in the back on McMahon. That was obvious to all here. And McMahon makes them pay, and this start is looking ominously similar to that in Wellington. We watched the Australians train this morning, Annie, and Harvey was moving okay on what was an injured ankle.
Yeah, I don't think she overextended or pushed it too hard. She's been working lightly in training. We saw her go over on it quite badly. Not contested in play, but just on her own, as McMahon nails another for Australia.
Well, Yvonne Willering has cause to worry. 6-1. Australia scored the last 5. And the Aussies would have been very keen to start well for obvious reasons, but also to take this passionate crowd out of the game. Van Dijk, long-range shot for her, and it goes.
And the difference then was good, quick hands from Seymour, who let it go easily to Lochhagen.
Silver Ferns need some turnovers, or the Aussies will get away from them. They want to have to mount a comeback like they did in the third and fourth quarters in Wellington.
Well, they're holding up the Australian attack to their credit. They are stalling the play. Australia patiently working to find a space, using the width of the court. Timapara George comes up with a touch.
They missed it.
Absolutely off the court.
That's a terrible call. As they endeavour to get that back into the court, it bounced outside. Oh, I cannot believe that was let go. Well, perhaps I'm not going to see a replay of that, but we're right on that sideline. The pace of the game can trip up everybody, commentators included. We've been known to make a mistake, Annie. Seymour, and through hands to George. Down on the court is Harvey Williams. And the shot is good from Lochhagen. Back they come. The Aussies under pressure now. The defence stepping up from the Silver Ferns. We expected it to.
And many called that intercept. Many set up the New Zealand defence, encouraged Edward to take a go on that one. So good pressure from the New Zealand skipper.
Remember, Australia led 6-1.
New Zealand defence said it's Edward that got the touch. Lochhagen deep down is working hard in defence as well. But that was a nice set play from the New Zealand defence. And again, good access to the circle. The Phoenix is starting to inject something into the Silver Fern lineup.
Well, that sluggish start has been wiped away. It's the Aussies who have stalled now. Look at the passes they're having to make just to keep possession. Southby, Sanders. Southby again, and McMahon. Well, there was risk attached, but it was well executed.
It was a beautiful drive from Sherelle McMahon along the baseline. Great timing on the pass, but Australia really having to work.
Will you take free pass, Australia?
And the centre pass, an infringement from the Silver Ferns. 7-6 Australia.
Goal third. Right back at the line, centre.
Seymour also very instrumental in defence for New Zealand, is really adding something to this back line.
So midway through the first term, you're watching it live on ABC Sport as Sherelle McMahon hauls one in one-handed. Second test from Invercargill. First time Australia has ever played an international here.
Contact on the attack. Australia!
And they restore a 2-goal lead and do have the centre pass. Seymour wanted to take one. And possession to the Silver Ferns. George.
Cycling defender back here, penalty pass, New Zealand. No,
counted down. So
when you take back,
see again Australia's pattern in defence. Ellis is taking front position on Lochhagen, and Harvey Williams is looking for the play to the post.
Contact against Irene Van Dijk. It looked a clean get from Ellis, and she knocked it away. Squire. Harvey Williams across court. Richardson there for the backup.
Almost a softball play then from Richardson covering the base.
Yes, sir. An Olympic medalist in softball, of course, Nicole Richardson. Aussie's getting set in the circle. Southby, another long-range shot for her. It's asking a lot, and she delivers. 2 from 3 for Southby. Lochhagen George. Australia 51-47 winners in Wellington. 4-goal victory. Honours recently pretty well shared prior to the meeting in Wellington. The last 6 games were 3 apiece.
Ellis's hard work in defence, taking a clean intercept. We watch here, she sags back. Great position to take what was a poor ball from Lochhagen. Goes to waste. Australia putting it straight off the back line.
Lochhagen. And she's got 3 from 3. The Kiwis haven't missed. And Lochhagen 3 goals, Van Dyke 4. That's a much more even share. That might please Yvonne Willering and Donna Lochhagen.
I'm sure it will. I mean, the fact that Lochhagen is out there instead of Colling is that they want her shooting, not just feeding the ball. Great work, Liz Ellis. She's having a mighty game in a game that is much closer and more contested than the first.
Yeah, a fast breakout from the Silver Ferns, and they just couldn't get it quickly enough to Van Dyke. George.
Contact goalkeeper, pass or shot.
And the contact is against Ellis, so it'll find its way to Van Dyke. Doesn't miss from there. And the lead is back to 1. 4:40 to go in this eventful first quarter in Invercargill. The crowd's getting value for money.
Contact wing.
Silver Ferns looking for the leveller here. Van Dyke, 5 from 5. Lochhagen, 3 from 3. Made that 4 from 4.
Change in the way New Zealand are playing the circle. It was a Van Dyke then that cleared for Lochhagen, which means the Australian defensive pair can't afford to focus all their tension on Van Dyke. They're going to have to play one-on-one at times.
Squire slapped from behind by Timapara George. Penalty goes Australia's way. And Sanders has it.
Southby out of the circle a little early so that her lead doesn't really split or attract the defenders at all.
Well, many came out having a dip. They did find themselves short at the back. And Australia by 1. Seymour to George.
Well, that's the feed New Zealand want. Quick release from the centre third, and Timapara George a little more comfortable sometimes inciting the long-range feed than she is on the circle edge.
McMahon. Oh, knocked out of hands. Richardson.
On the ground, taking possession.
Taking possession on the ground. The call from Sharon Kelly. And this for the lead for New Zealand. They got it. 11-10, the Ferns. Edward on to George. Penalty against Australia. And the penalties 11-10. One more against New Zealand. Oh, Lochhagen gives the hand a pump, and they're out by 2.
That's an ominous sign, both that Lochhagen is getting attempts at goal and that she's shooting from that range with ease.
So New Zealand have gone from 1-6 to 12-10. That's an 11-4 run from New Zealand. Southby, they need this.
Good pressure from Minnie. She's working to the side of the shot, not the front of the shot, over the shooting arm.
Good drive up the court too from the New Zealand captain. George fumbles, but no damage done as Van Dyke cleans up. George.
You see the Australian defenders having to play a one-on-one now because Lochhagen has proven to be so integral in this first quarter.
There. Section goal defender, penalty pass.
Instruction against Harvey, so there's 2-on-1 in the circle. The crowd senses that.
What a play for Lizzie Ellis. Being forced out by Van Dyke. But what do you do to tall timbers? Look at the pressure over the shot. Minnie on Southby almost touches the shooting arm and takes the rebound on the follow-through.
This is an unbelievable run from New Zealand. This is for 5 in a row. And they're starting to wipe the court with the Australians. Harvey keeps it in. Sanders stuck. Oh, Lochhagen says, I'll have it. They're under pressure, the Aussies, and they're faltering.
Australia's starting to freeze the ball, doesn't have some forward running onto it. It's splitting to the sides. And this time it's playing right into the defensive pattern.
A few boos go up for that challenge from Squire on George. The Australians clearly frustrated. Lochhagen. And they finally missed one. New Zealand got their first 14 shots. Lochhagen, a genuine contribution this time.
That's a second handling error, sorry Steve, on Timapara George, and I think sometimes the urgency with which she wants to play it too quick for the take.
Has to come back. And Southby setting up, trying to block Bunganar from defending.
Australia.
And the Aussies get one back and have the centre pass. 40 seconds left in the first quarter.
Goal attack contact in line with the centre.
And this penalty eating up valuable time. Australia needs to make a quick play to the circle. They need to penetrate with the shot up.
Well, they'd like to be last to score. I think they've got plenty of time.
Oh, misunderstanding. They started to rotate. The screen didn't come from it, and into the corner was where there were New Zealand hands.
Contact centre.
Contact. Now there's only a dozen seconds left. Now Southby can get the shot away and does make it count. And New Zealand will struggle to get it to the circle. And Seymour dawdles away up. Has to take the centre pass. Lophagen.
Contact keeper.
Oh, there was contact, and she will get the shot.
Well, the 2-on-1 was always going to risk the penalty. It played right into the hands of New Zealand then.
This is the last moment of the first quarter, and a telling one for New Zealand. Well, they were down 6-1. They've managed to produce an almost mirror image of the first quarter in the first test. And a 4-goal lead, but it's teams have swapped. It was 5 to Australia in Wellington. It's 4 to New Zealand here. Who'd have thought it after 6-1 down?
No, but this crowd not surprised, didn't they? Let them know it at the break. They were just euphoric with the first quarter. Australia's made some adjustments, although we missed on that first goal. Not a good start.
Yes, Rebecca Sanders comes on, moves to centre from wing attack, and Nicole Richardson goes to the bench. On comes Alex Hodge at wing attack, and Van Dyke. And the Kiwis lead by 12, and smiles all round, and Invercargill.
Contact.
That last feed from New Zealand really reminds us that a well-weighted ball to Van Dyke cannot be stopped. The work needs to be done further down. It can't be left to Liz Ellis when it's beautifully placed.
Step against Julie Seymour. Expect to see that too often in international netball, but it's at least the second call in this game. Sanders.
Contact centre.
And this slightly rejigged mid-court finds some fluency.
We expected to see Alex Hodge enter the game, but perhaps not so quickly.
McMahon. Looked like she got a heavy challenge from Bunganar and letting it bounce in closer to the post. A shrewd Southby.
Great composure from Eloise Southby, who was standing up to the physical challenge well.
She's down by 4, but had the centre pass. Sanders to Harvey-Williams. On to Hodge, no problems there. McMahon anchors the right foot.
Contact, goal defender, pass or shot. We see it.
And set around the circle, and the crowd doesn't like the call because it's a penalty to McMahon. And she gets it. That's her 10 from 11. And some encouragement from the Aussie bench. Only a handful of Australian supporters here, and reminding of the change made at quarter time by Jill McIntosh. Alex Hodge coming on at wing attack. Sanders dropping from wing attack back to centre. Richardson off. And
back goal attack. Back goal.
Strong work from Lophagen, who was under pressure of Mellis, but handled well on a one-handed offload to Van Dyke, but not required. The penalty did enough.
Lophagen just had 8 goals in the whole of the first test. She's got 7 early in the second quarter round.
Well, that's exactly what Yvonne Willering was hoping for in the first test. It didn't reap the benefits, though, and many of us question, well, why persist? Why not put Colling back into the game because of her feeding role and her ability to be the general? But Willering's support of her players, of that starting combination, is being rewarded in this one.
It lips out. No luck for Southby.
Wonderful take from Edward.
Van Dyke. Shooting over Ellis. Nothing but net. Great shot from Irene Van Dyke. Southby watches on in disappointment as the Kiwis stretch it to 5, looking for 6. George.
Wing defence obstruction. Right at the circle, wing attack coming.
And the penalty against Peter Squire. That's her 4th. Penalties much more even in this match as Van Dyke gets away and a classy goal.
Yeah, showing off now, enjoying the space off the court, which is not as difficult as it appears. It's more the fun of the shot that shooters like to put up, but the crowd love it.
Southby, pressure over the shot.
Again, the offensive work on the rebounds, great from Australia, but
Bounce of the ball not really favouring McMahon on that occasion, but Squire helping at the other end to swing possession back Australia's way.
Victoria Edward rising another notch in this game. She's really lifting her performance, looking much more comfortable in the back line for New Zealand. A more organised back line than we first saw in Wellington.
Nice move along the baseline from McMahon, but she gives away so much height to many. The pass had to be perfect, and it was close to. New Zealand with a 5-goal lead. It was 4 at quarter time. Hunting for 6.
Good work outside the circle by Rebecca Sanders. But Australia really having to play much more of a one-on-one. They can't afford to neglect one of the New Zealand shooters.
Australia with 40 wins and 21 losses. 2 draws against New Zealand.
Causing goal attack.
Sanders. And that'll be against Lochhagen.
Right with the centre.
Interesting, this is their 13th three-test series, Australia and New Zealand. The Aussies have won 9.
And that is a Silverfern intercept, which we did not see in the first test. That's what was lacking. They didn't come out into the long ball. And you can just see the level of confidence in this side.
Yeah, Linda Vangana on screen there briefly was sluggish, off the pace really. In Wellington, Van Dijk.
I've got to say again, Lizzie Ellis doing everything she can. Let's take another look. It's an example of a well-placed ball. That's the intercept from Vangana. Read it beautifully, out strong onto the ball, and at the other end, Lizzie Ellis can do no more than she's doing, but the ball's being placed beautifully to Van Dijk.
Man. She's 12 from 13. It's Southby who's being restricted in this match. Just 4 from 8.
A touch too ambitious from Timapara George.
Well, 190 centimetres, Van Dijk, but even she reached that. Contact against Timapara George. Squire. Numbers down for the Aussies. Can they make use of it? Now, the defence is back. Just at times, the Silver Ferns look like they've got 8 players on court, and they're defending superbly.
They're more prepared to come out onto the ball. They really sat back in the first test. They persisted on a more front position, but wanted to stay back near the circle. They're coming out with this, and their mobility as a unit far better in this match. You can see the zone shift as the ball changes side to side on the court. So a very cohesive unit.
Edward and Hodge, great duel going on there. Here it comes to Southby. He needs this.
Again, New Zealand working from the side of the shot.
And the Aussies have got the last 3, and they've trimmed the lead to 3. Better stuff from the visitors. George. Now Lochhagen. Good defence from the Australians, restricting the flow. Lochhagen, 2 back on Van Dijk.
Centre, free pass, New
Sanders
Zealand.
was offside.
That was the offside, further up. Offside.
Well, the crowd, I think, believing that Timapara George wasn't being given a fair go, but it wasn't her pass to take. Van Dijk. And still has a fist. That is 15 from 15 for Irene Van Dijk, and a healthy 7 from 8 for Lochhagen. And their team for shooting 96%. That'll win you a match most days. Edward to many. Lochhagen. Bit over halfway through the second quarter, and that's off Liz Ellis's hands.
Hold time.
Sharon Kelly just asked for a halt to time while the ball's retrieved. Lochhagen ready to go.
Vantage, contact wing.
George finds Van Dijk running along the baseline. Actually, we mentioned more than once in the series in Australia, and what an improved player Irene Van Dijk is in this company.
I was just thinking that's a move we would not have seen her use in the South African lineup. She used the hold, although it wasn't a full one from Lochhagen. She saw that she had used her body width to sew up some space, ran behind her on the base rather than holding at the back of it.
International netball live on ABC Sport. Hope you're enjoying it. 23-18, New Zealand turning things around from a lacklustre performance in the first test. Got the Aussies by 5, 6 out from half-time.
Julie Seymour has made such a difference in both the attacking and defensive level of this New Zealand team. Nothing is uncontested by her.
3-second call against the Australians. This New Zealand defence outstanding today. Many. Over the top she goes to find George, and the foot was over the line. Joan Hodson saw it. I think as soon as Temapara looked at her feet, Joan Hodson did likewise. Harvey Williams across to Hodge. Well, good take from Southby on the baseline. No room to spare, but the ball was well delivered, and Nick Richardson, replaced after 1 quarter, has to be disappointed. And the lead is no less than it was when she was replaced. See any positive signs from the Australians' point of view?
I think the work in the circle has improved, and the fact that their running goal for goal has proven their ability to maintain possession and convert has lifted. But, you know, the going is so tough out there for them. Southby more in the game movement-wise. McMahon has done most of it for Australia, which is fantastic, and I guess that's the good sign, but we're not able to stop New Zealand at the moment. That's the area that worries me. The defenders, as we said, have had to commit one-on-one, and in that situation, we're not turning over enough ball.
Well, we did turn it over, unfortunately, the wrong way at the other end. A 3-second call, and Van Dijk. Marvellous stats being delivered again from Irene Van Dijk. 89% in Wellington, 100% deep into the second quarter from the former South African captain. 72 caps for South Africa, and this is number 17 for New Zealand.
I might have to check the width of this court if Temapara George goes out of court once more in that same position. Usually mid-courters know exactly the width of a court and play within a centimetre of it.
Well, Mann could not get away. We'll come all the way back for a pass or shot for McMahon. So McMahon to boos from this big crowd. And she converts 14 from 15. And Southby 6 from 10. Team shooting of 80% to New Zealand's 96. Squire takes the lateral pass. No challenge for that one. Oh, and Southby, for a change, open at the post. How did that happen?
New Zealand!
Southby had worked far out on the left-hand side. I thought the move was a little early, but what it did was shift focus away from the post. Made it look easy in the end, didn't it, when she made the move back in there?
Contact, New Zealand penalty. Next to the wing attack.
Many takes it. George. With over 3 minutes left until half-time.
Lochhagen open at the post is going unnoticed by the New Zealand feeders.
Comes back out to George. Over for Lochhagen. Harvey Williams out of play. Lochhagen will get this one. A bit of help from the rim. Aussie centre pass.
Goal attack contact.
Margin
Australia penalty.
on Saturday at half-time. 9 goals to Australia. That's a 13-goal turnaround at the moment. Sanders has to go all for Hodge. Now they're open. It was risky stuff. Oh, won't go.
Australia trying to work the speed only, perhaps need to employ a little more deception. That fake to lure Many out is a way to open the post for the other shooter.
Ellis crash tackles the post. Van Dijk for a 5-goal lead, and the centre pass.
That is breaking goal attack.
Many. Seymour, great player she is. Lochhagen and Van Dijk, 2 on her, but still she found a way.
How incredible is her split, even once she has position. The opening onto the ball is such a wide span from the landed foot.
Harvey Williams, the Hodge, Sanders. Aussies need a couple before the break, one feels. New Zealand netball fans hoping that we end up in Christchurch with the series split, of course. Southby gets an important one.
New Zealand.
Centre pass to Australia. New Zealand, I beg your pardon. Van Dijk gets the early delivery. Oh, was a real booster for the Silver Ferns if they needed one.
It's not as if the crowd needed any encouragement. That was brilliant work from Van Dijk. She really was under pressure. Ellis had the preferred position, and to take that, keep the footwork clean, turn in the air and offload was just wonderful to watch.
And how did that not drop? It went all the way around the rim, the full 360, and came out. And it just starts to feel like New Zealand's day as they hunt around for a 7-goal lead.
And Australia chasing the ball, neglected to check the positioning of the other shooter.
Lofhagen, George. Seymour into Van Dijk, gets rid of it quickly. No time for Ellis to get back and mark up. She's quite capable of letting the shots release in a flash. Squire and Harvey Williams run into each other. And that tells you about the cohesion for the Australians. And just a few seconds left in the quarter, and perhaps the Australians got the last. 10 seconds left. Van Dijk anchors that left foot, pulls the trigger early.
Time.
And won't get the second shot. And her first miss of the half at the start of the match. I can't believe what's happened now. As we get underway in the third quarter, and more changes to tell you about. As McMahon slots into goal shooter, and coming on
the
for
contact, goal defence.
Eloise Southby.
Yeah, where you
But,
are.
in the goal attack bib, Jane Altschwager playing just her second test. And what a thrill for Altschwager, one of the best players of the grand final. I remember Liz Ellis was probably player of the match, but Altschwager had a whale of a game as the Swifts down the Thunderbirds. But we're stepping up a level here, Anne.
She's certainly coming off good form. She has, of course, had a touch of the New Zealand style of play, a member of the Australian 21 and under squad for their series in the middle of this year. But, of course, as you say, this is another level. Not surprised at the change, though, from Jill McIntosh. McMahon, who has been the key shooter, moved back to goal shooter. Altschwager may add something. In fact, she'll change the pace of the circle for Australia, and that'll be a good thing for New Zealand to have to offset.
Free pass inside. No, it was this way. Offside wing attack. Free pass
The wing attack
Australia.
was offside, so it is Australia's possession. A little confusion there in the players about who that was going to. Hodge on to McMahon. Oh, Sanders under enormous pressure from Victoria Edward, who has really stood up to it today.
She's lifted another level, and she's been integral in creating some turnovers. Mind you, it's the unit as a whole that's so impressive in this match for New Zealand. You see Australia, as the ball comes down the court, try and set up behind the back of the zone to screen for the shooters. But they're coming off it a little early.
And Altschwager gets her first goal at senior level against New Zealand. Played a test, of course, against England earlier in the year. She was on a winning team.
Spanish contact wing attack.
Tour of UK.
Yeah, both Jane and Alison Broadbent, members of the Australian team for the England tour, then absent from the lineup in the middle of the year, and of course both back in. Great ball, too much on it though. Welcome to top court. We're swung in with some pace, of course. The understanding between Southby and McMahon so good, and Altschwager will need to get herself in there.
This is the tricky thing, isn't it? That Altschwager, not having played with McMahon or Southby or Delaney much, except in training and, of course, briefly on that tour to England. So had a wonderful combination going with Megan Anderson for the Swifts. Hodge, Sanders. McMahon, Hodge. As Wangenaar gets a taste of the floor. Altschwager gets her first two. Bianca Chatfield closest to screen there. She's the baby of the team. Just 19. Hodge. Oh, McMahon, another athletic take from her. Aussies, can they? Oh, an air ball. When did you last see one of those from McMahon?
Can't tell you. Not game to either. I'm assuming we haven't. Staying on the right side.
Aussies have got 3 on the trot.
Hold tight.
And a little time-out, have we? Wangenaar, who did go to the floor a moment or so ago. Perhaps she rolled the ankle as she did so.
Certainly
again,
the right ankle is receiving some attention. The ice pack quick to be applied.
And again, the Aussies have got the last 3, and they've got the lead back to 4.
Whatever do you mean, Mr. Rebellion?
Well, there was quite a bit of speculation in that first test that the Australians were calling suspect injury timeouts. And certainly our New Zealand colleagues thought they were.
We can clear that ledger. Both Australian girls, both the Sanders and the skipper, Catherine Harvey-Williams, ankle injuries in that match.
Don't forget the third test, Australia and New Zealand, live on ABC Sport this Saturday afternoon from Christchurch, scene of Australia's mighty World Championship win a couple of years ago. And we can't wait for that. And I wonder if we'll go there tied up at 1 apiece. When the Australians pull this one out of the fire. Long way to go for the difference. Bunganar is okay. Seymour gets us back underway. Loughagan. Seymour. George. Oh, nice move. Roll from Loughagan. Why she didn't turn and shoot there. And they may regret it.
Inside the circle, New Zealand. Inside, just inside.
Throw in. Hagan across to George. Oh, Seymour, how many plays is that? That's one too many.
Offside was the call, so I think the offside came before the replay.
Gee, that's a congested centre third. It comes across to Sanders as they attempt to clear things.
Very important stage of the game. You can just sense Australia coming back at the margin.
Important goal. Oh, if it is one, it's not. Bunganar. Well, it was out. The ball bounced out, so either way, Silver Ferns possession. It was one the Aussies needed to take. 31-27. 11 minutes left in the third quarter.
Australia looked like they were trying to pack the mid-court then, but the ball came down on them too quickly. New Zealand putting some real speed into their down-court play now. The release of the ball far superior to that we saw in the first test. Confidence is high.
We've still got Van Dijk on perfect stats. What did you rule there, Todd, at the end of that second quarter? Time was up. You're too nice to the visitors, going to the home side here. That's rolled in for Altschwager to shoot over the top of Bunganar and get what is number 3 for her from 3 attempts.
Great work from the young shooter, formerly Adelaide, now playing in the Sydney ranks. Good composure on the shot. Just needs to settle into the movement.
Van Dijk, Loughagan helps out. Scrappy ball. And she has to get rid of it quickly, so she goes for the layup. And there are some Aussie fans back there. Yeah, wave that yellow stuff around. That's the way.
Attack. Contact when defense.
And that'll go against Victoria Edward. Just a sprinkling, a handful of Aussies. Perhaps they're resident in Invercargill, or a few have made the trip.
Pass or shot?
There's only 4 or 5 in Wellington, I think, man.
Yeah, I think my count was 5.
2 of them are Alison Broadbent's parents.
I think they're the only parents here supporting the Aussie girls. The others obviously committed or watching at home, watching the live coverage. I know their hearts are here.
So a lead back to 4. There's plenty of time to haul it in. They've got to stop the supply to Irene Van Dijk. Sanders with the centre pass. Harvey-Williams on to Altschwager, who steps in. A longer range attempt from her. No. It's Australia's possession, though. Off Bernice Menny. And Bernice playing her 77th international. Turnover.
Yeah, the ball coming off the floorboards just too quickly, particularly for a player the height of Altschwager, who's under pressure.
Edward, and that frees it up. Oh, Seymour with a backup. Loughagan sticks out the right hand. Everything is sticking for the Silver Ferns, and they're back out to a 6-goal lead with a centre pass. Seymour to George. George to someone out the back there. Someone halfway up the climbing wall. Sanders, Squire.
New Zealand attacks the middle. Oh, and that's why. That's what they were looking for. They pack 5 in the middle, the back players to run down onto any ball that's coming off a little slow or a little wide.
McMahon. Oh, gee.
Australia's trying to force things that just aren't there yet.
And putting on Altschwager might have been a little thought that from McIntosh that with one test already in the bag, isn't a bad opportunity to get Altschwager into a high-pressure game.
Oh, it's brilliant to see her exposed at some stage, and the way it's panned out, this has been a perfect opportunity to have a look at it.
Altschwager now, Banganar. Oh, very late, very clumsy, and very much penalised.
Keep it, go beside her,
And
thank
very
you.
far out from the circle.
Contact against Penny, and they rule that she had possession there.
Yeah, I know she's under a lot of pressure, but the hands really need to tighten up a little from Janie. The shooting, though, is beautiful.
4 from 4. Centre pass Australia's, down by 5. Altschwager, good turn and pass from her.
Great work, good vision from Hodge. McMahon was sagging on the baseline, waiting for that, waiting for it to split.
Now, and the Australians mount the defensive pressure. Squeeze out a turnover here. Or will it be a settler from the Silver Ferns? 6.5 to go in the third quarter. Esquire. Oh, no, it won't. Contact there. Penalty
Where the centre
for
is.
New Zealand.
I didn't see it. I must have been desperate for the intercept. I'll confess. Contact on the way up.
And for Liz Ellis, the 10th penalty. Still the penalties going against New Zealand, 41 to 29. Hodge, Altschwager. Oh, strong take from McMahon. She's open for a second or two, then things close down. And somehow Altschwager still got it to her.
Sorry, New Zealand.
Gee, Seymour takes that centre pass quickly. And haven't they found Van Dijk in a trice?
Van Dijk having a bit of a field day in this match, and as I've mentioned several times, you can't pin it on Lizzie Ellis. What's happened is Australia have had to revert to the one-on-one, and she's very difficult to mark her height and reach if the ball's well placed.
McMahon having a great game, 20 from 25, 80%.
Well, Australia pretty well has run goal for goal. Slight hiccup at the end of the first quarter. They conceded a couple, but they've had the ability to run goal, but they just need to turn it over. Irene Van Dijk, though, remains a thought. 29 from 29.
I'm waiting for the slam. She's tall enough. Oh, McMahon.
Now Van Dijk on the layout, taking advantage of Liz Ellis, putting everything into that forward move.
Turnover at the other end, and it's New Zealand with it through Banganar. Edward.
Australia again sitting up high through the midcourt, have left Lochhagen and Van Dijk close to the circle. Harvey's up hunting.
Banganar to Seymour, nearly a fumble from her. She's had a near faultless game, Julie Seymour, and having no trouble running through 3 quarters. Question mark over whether she had 4 in her. She won the New Zealand 800 metres a couple of years back. She is one fit lady.
When you're 5 up, I don't think you feel the pain too much.
She's got mum and a baby boy with her here in Invercargill. And she is married, of course, to Dallas Seymour, a rugby player of some note. Ellis gets a rare intercept.
It's put on the backhand of Harvey Williams that was behind her. Difficult to haul it in. Australia putting each other under pressure at times, and they really should be looking to another option.
Well, they're just making too many mistakes, I think, to win this match. The way they're playing here late in the third quarter, 3:40 to go.
Break attack.
And Van Dijk, 30 from 30.
And ironically, we talked about Lochhagen putting up more goals in this match. She's sitting on 9.
Yep.
So although she had a really good start, what's happened is she's forced them to play one-on-one. That's played into Van Dijk's hands. Now she's on strike again, and we're back to the age-old problem.
Lochhagen had 8 from 9 late in the first half. And she's now 9 from 11. And Van Dijk, just giving away 4 penalties. Picked up 1 rebound.
New Zealand.
Lochhagen, 9 from 11, 6 penalties, 82%. George. The ball is just being delivered right on the money. And Van Dijk is loving it. Keep on Willering. Giving anything away. Hodge
obstruction, goal attack.
Obstruction against Lochhagen.
And having a little bit of a slap before she's come round the full 3 feet, 0.9 metres.
Contact centre.
Oh.
Paykel.
Seymour gets a little shoulder on the way past from Hodge. He says, you're not going to get away with that, Julie.
Back out. Contact.
Olschwager.
Well, I love it. Olschwager prepared to take on Many. Had a little bit of a nudge then. I'll hold my position and keep you out. She's relishing the challenge.
Untouched, free pass.
Untouched, and the Aussies have got a turnover here. They need to capitalise. Score and score again. Olschwager, Sanders, McMahon putting the moves on. She shoot from there. She won't.
Contact centre.
Contact against Seymour.
Vantage
The bowlers
contact
get
wing.
set.
Vantage contact wing.
Olschwager has to shoot over Many. Won't go.
Zealand going.
McMahon trying to convince Sharon Kelly it was Australian possession. She's having nothing of it. George swings it across to Seymour. Oh, and Harvey Williams cannot believe she's given it straight to Irene.
Well, there's nothing she could do. Just tragic. The effort was on the offload. She was hoping as she turned Ellis would come up with it. Just tragic to see it in Van Dijk's hands.
McMahon. Cross to Hodge. Olschwager has to leave the circle. Now she gets it to McMahon.
She's working hard to split the New Zealand defenders.
And that's a New Zealand ball.
And what Australia doesn't need at this time when they're working so hard is the missed shot.
Lochhagen, great take. Knew where her feet were. And the lead is 8.
Well, there's something in this cauldron theory, isn't there?
Absolutely. Lochhagen. Many. Just think the New Zealand defenders, too many, and Bangana are playing a far superior game, more determined to grab these 50-50 balls. Van Dijk and Lochhagen, they're pretty happy with the way things are going here.
And you
Out
see
comes
just,
Joe Coleman to
just
attend
in
to
that
Van Dijk.
shot, Steve, you see the transition that the Silver Ferns have undergone. Van Dijk coming into the team, of course, would have been a controversial move. As we have a look at Julie Seymour, put it up beautifully. Harvey Williams through the back of it, but is in a little late, takes a little bit of Van Dijk. Look at the quick release from Seymour, beautifully placed. And, of course, Van Dijk unsighted to the contest behind her. But, of course, there would have been such rivalry in this New Zealand forward line. Van Dijk, of course, shifting Lochhagen, who was their shooter, out to goal attack. Colling now being benched. They've obviously made the adjustments, although it's slow.
So the Australians got it back to 3 and 4 in this third quarter, but it's out to dangerous proportions now. I cannot see them hauling it in from here, but they've had a similar kind of comeback at a recent World Championship, as I recall. And Van Dijk. Oh, really missed it. He's still on perfect stats. 34 from 34.
Contact, centre third.
And we're inside the last half minute.
Smart work, Rebecca Sanders. Beautiful work to play the penalty on so quickly.
Get that ball back.
Seymour.
Section centre, penalty pass.
Obstruction against Sanders. 8 seconds left. Timekeeper not out of the chair yet. Up it goes. Ellis says, I'll take it. And they did need to stop New Zealand. Oh.
Oh, dear. McMahon at the back of play trying to draw attention to the fact that she was unmarked. Brought back, though, by Joan Hodgson.
Australia at least have possession to start a testing last quarter. That's Squire. Jenny May Coffin there getting some early involvement in the game, a penalty before she'd even touched the ball. She's on at wing attack. Sanders back to Squire. We'll work it around. Hodge gets rid of Edward. It finds its way to Olschwager. Everything must drop for the Australians.
New Zealand.
So Jenny May Coffin coming on in what is her 11th test, the Waikato player, and replacing Temapara George.
Vantage
I think had a pretty good game, Eddie.
Yeah, and Jenny May Coffin, another speed demon at wing attack. Very fast around the edge of the circle, holding good position and a nice quick release there. They've lost nothing, it would appear, in the transition.
Contact on the ball. Pass or shot.
Contact against Ellis. Van Dijk's ball.
Yeah.
The Australians can only hope that Jenny May Coffin doesn't feed as well as George and Seymour.
Perhaps they could hope that Van Dijk stops catching and shooting.
Well, let's hope with that. 35 from 36 now, Van Dijk with a miss. McMahon, Sanders. Well, we've been saying all week, 3 seconds. Not for the first time against Alex Hodge, but that's a tribute again to the Silver Ferns defence.
And no movement onto the ball from Australia. Both shooters put the moves out sideways, quite lateral, nothing to split up the middle. We don't have the same rotational movement we had earlier in the game, but it's a combinational thing. The shooters not used to each other, so it becomes a little more one-on-one.
Hodge.
That's a better move from Jane Olschwager.
Olschwager. 7 from 8.
New Zealand.
Well, Jane Olschwager, who's now the tallest player on court at 192.
Obstruction, you went arms
Van
first.
Dijk 190 centimetres. Coffin, Seymour.
Vantage contact wing.
Australia working hard, keeping the New Zealand shooters both quite flat. No room for the ball to be placed then.
Hagen comes out of the circle. Back they go on Van Dijk. Trying to free herself
Goal
up.
shooter.
And goal shooter draws a penalty, and that's the 5th for Irene.
That's great work then from the Australian defenders. They really pushed the New Zealanders to the baseline, left there nowhere for the feed to be placed.
Olschwager came out a long way from home.
Vantage contact goal defender.
And she get one from there.
Australia being forced to shoot from quite long range shots. It's difficult to get them close to the post. This is one of those rare opportunities.
The Australians may be lucky to get that one back. McMahon could have been slapping at the hand there, but it wasn't a penalty.
Vantage wing holding.
And the Australians lose possession there. Australia down by 4 at quarter time, 16-12 New Zealand. They took the second quarter, New Zealand 14-11 to lead at 30-23. Shaded Australia by 1 in the third to take a 44-36 lead. And they still lead by 6.
Once again, Harvey Williams working high, has left Lofhagen unmarked, and so the feed on to Van Dijk, quite an easy one. Ellis left alone in the circle.
Seymour, Coffin.
Vantage contact wing.
Nenny, steady at the back. Seymour finds Van Dijk.
Contact straight at centre.
Contact against Sanders.
Sanders riding Julie Seymour very hard. Good work, Ellis. Beautiful work up in the air, outside arm, and a quick release. Australia in attack.
Squire to Hodge.
Contact wing defence.
Finding it awfully difficult to get fluid movement down the court, aren't they? And it's just stopping and starting.
Yeah, they've lost the cohesion that they had in the first test, but just a sign of how much pressure they're under. There's a lot of body contact too on the way to the ball, not just on the tape.
Australia.
Australia's centre pass. Ellis.
Well, Ellis encouraging them, one more, let's take the centre, let's bring it back one more, bit by bit, but lost opportunity as Hodge is put out of play.
Doesn't like the call, said something to Joan Hodson.
Vantage centre obstruction.
Harvey Williams comes out and makes up.
And you wonder what advantage when Sanders hadn't been put out of play and it was just called, and then Harvey comes up with the intercept.
It gave it straight back. Van Dijk. Oh, 2 on Lofhagen. Not legally.
No, it's Ellis that will be out for contact in that front position coming through the body.
Yeah.
By 7 with a centre pass to come.
Vantage breaking goal defence.
Coffin. Victoria Edward. Looks the gentlest thing, doesn't she, that
Yes.
New Zealand wing defence, but she's very much at home in this
Vantage
intense level of netball.
And mind you, Leslie Nichol, who owned that position prior to her, had a similar look. But both great athletes. Such a specialist position, wing defence.
Squire.
New Zealand, look how many in the midcourt. 2, 4, 6. 5, but Van Dijk right on the edge of it made it appear there was nowhere through the black wall.
Contact goal defence.
McMahon.
And pass Australia.
47-41, 9 to go. Alison Broadbent screaming some encouragement, believing that with 9 9 minutes left. Maybe it's achievable. I get the feeling we're going to Christchurch to sort it all out. McMahon. Sanders.
Contact goal defender, you're right.
Contact
Pass
many.
it short.
Right, just making sure she's all right.
New Zealand!
New Zealand centre pass. They'll be looking just put some more distance
Vantage contact
in the
wing.
goal here. I want the Aussies to get it back to 4 or 5.
Contact wing attack.
Hodge has got to
till
stand
she's
out of play.
Wing. Holding wing defence.
Lofhagen, Van Dijk.
The Van Dijk split. And the Van Dijk goal. 37 from 38 at 97% Irene Van Dijk. It's been a showcase of her ability this match.
Australia.
Olschwager got a very... Oh, McMahon. One of those classically strong rebounds from the shortest girl in the circle.
New Zealand.
Seymour, Coffin. New Zealand has won every quarter so far. 16-12, 14-11 and 14-13.
Good work, Peter Squire. Held her ground. Oh, under pressure as Wagner comes out for a piece of the intercept.
So there's only one defender in the circle. How quickly can they get it there? McMahon must get it to go. It won't. Many pulls in the rebound. That could be good night. 7.5 to go. 5 the lead. Coffin. Oh, Irene Van Dijk never got an easier feed than that one.
Well, was there ever any question as to where the ball would go? I think
Clumsy on the challenge, so she's out of play. And Ellis takes one.
misunderstanding then. The midcourt is cleared for New Zealand, but it's intercept for intercept.
Wagner had it delivered right on the chest. Oh, I'll take that quite happily. Wagner and Many really have a story to tell in this second test. A much better effort. And these two big and awkward defenders really tested the Aussies today.
Intimidations in the face.
And ball's on our side of the court and needs to be returned to the other. And it's Sanders out of play.
Yeah, it's an intimidation call. So hands in the face of her opponent.
Lovely delivery from Seymour to Van Dijk. And Yvonne Willering. A few questions over how secure her job might be if they'd gone down 3-zip in this series. So we can say with some safety that that's not going to happen. And just 5:40 to go. And a 7-goal lead, looking for 8 as Irene. Van Dijk looks for number 40 from one more attempt than that. 98%. So this game running long. And we are going to have to farewell some viewers in a moment. Tasmania will be able to stay with us. Harvey Williams. And the defensive effort from the Silver Ferns. They're loving it here at Invercargill. So with New Zealand leading 51-43 with 5 to go in the second test, we say goodbye to...
Out of sight, and I think Lizzie Ellis is damned from front or back in a one-on-one situation, the way that feeds are being produced.
Squire, Harvey Williams. Sanders available, not much else. Olschwager, good take.
Yeah, good screen from McMahon, left it open for Olschwager.
Australia's ball. How quickly did McMahon retrieve it and play on? Oh, Olschwager gave it on so quickly.
It wasn't the best disposal, but it was beautifully taken.
And Bernice Many helped Sherelle McMahon to her feet.
On my whistle.
It's played hard, but in the main played fair.
Sanders breaking goal attack.
Lofhagen. Seymour. And Van Dijk.
Contact. Lateral shot.
Crowd's not happy, and then they are.
Right away, they're noisy.
crowd it goes. It comes back. Holzschwager. Who's got it? Nobody. It's behind the back of Terrell McMahon. Well, it sums up the Australians' night here. And it'll be a big night in Invercargill. They proved yet again it's tough to come here and win. If you're the visitors. Lisa Bihar trying to make herself heard above the din. No way. Could the Australian team hear her above the 4,000 strong crowd here. So 2.5 to go. 9 the lead. Finishing with a flourish. Sanders. Back to Squire. Hodges in the centre third now to back up. Cannot shake off their markers. McMahon. Back to Hodge. And they combine for the intercept. Manganar and Edwards. They're too good tonight. Under 2 to go. Touch from Harvey Williams, who's tried all game. And they snub it out of court, the Australians. It'll be a New Zealand possession.
There's a penalty on court. Lochhagan will take it. Harvey Williams taking the body.
Van Dijk. Squire on to McMahon. Holzschwager. They have not played well, the Australians. A late one from Hodge on Seymour. They've had a feisty physical go all match. Yvonne Willering comes up smiling. And I think in Julie Seymour, she's got the answer to her mid-court dilemmas. Like to have her back in the side. Lochhagan, 12 from 16.
It was just a 12, but it was a fine shot, and she really has been instrumental in New Zealand's recovery, forced a change in the way Australia's played their defence.
Oh, Van Dijk puts the foot down. A good sprint from her to be first to the ball. Finds its way back to Lochhagan through Coffin. A 12-goal lead. Australia's only scored 9 in this last quarter to 13 from their opponents. Make that 10 now for the Aussies. And we're into the dying stages of this match, and it's been mostly all New Zealand. Coffin, Seymour.
A nice front cut from Van Dijk, and with the sprint it gives her a close-range shot. Once again, steps it around. That's her 45th for the match, but just one miss. 98%. What at the moment is a 12-goal defeat of Australia.
This could be a record tally by a goal shooter against Australia. McMahon gets the last goal of the game. And it's a great win to New Zealand.